What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Horizon Forbidden West will get DLC. That's right. I waited I think I did wait an entire week. I know there's some people that have problems with me talking about sequels or DLCs too early after the game comes out. So I do listen to an extent, and, I waited a week. No, here's the deal. I really think this is kind of a slam dunk. I was debating whether talking about it or not. I guess this early because obviously people haven't beaten it yet. I will say this. I have not beaten it, but because of my position on YouTube or existing, things get spoiled, things happen. I will say, and we'll get this out of the way very early in terms of spoilers, there's not going to be any, but I will say from a story point of view, does it make sense to have a DLC for Forbidden West? Can you have a DLC that kind of bridges it a little bit, bridges the gap between game number 2 and game number 3? The answer, story-wise, I do believe is yes. Now, I think people will come to realize this. I'll realize it even more as we play through the game, but that's one thing I want to say. From a, I guess, every other perspective of this game, right? Does it make sense? I think is a slam dunk yes. This is a new era for PlayStation, right? This is an era, and actually, you could argue it's not even a new era because, well, we had Frozen Wilds for Horizon Zero Dawn back in 2017, right? Now, it took them a little while. It took them about, half a year, maybe a little bit more than that to give us that DLC. But I really think you look at Ghost of Tsushima, you look at Horizon 1, right? You look at all these games. I really think a DLC for this game makes so much. Honestly, you could even disguise it as a director's cut. You could literally rip off Ghost, and I'm not saying rip off in a negative way. You could do exactly what Ghost of Tsushima did, do a director's cut, which would be like a Game of the Year edition, stuff like that. You don't have to. You don't have to do that, but you could, and you could add in that DLC, an extra $10, $15, $20. But no, I mean, a game like Horizon, and a game actually like Ghost of Tsushima, I think works so well in terms of DLC. Big open world, right? You introduce a new area. It's not, I would imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine even from a creative standpoint, like creating the game, like you're using all the elements that you already did. Now you have to create a new area. You have to create, I would argue, probably new machines, right? You would need new enemies to battle. A new, much shorter main quest line. Some side stuff, side quests, errands, rebel camps, stuff like that. You have to fill it up a little bit, and bam, you're done. Now again, it's not as easy as hitting enter on your keyboard, right? But I mean, in all, like the schematics, the blueprint of how to do it are honestly right there. I think it would be again kind of like a slam dunk. It's another way for them to earn more revenue. We also know about how important Horizon. Again, this is like outside of the story. As a franchise, how important Horizon is. Well, we have Horizon, we have the DLC, now we have 2. I'd imagine we have the DLC. Then we have the Horizon PlayStation VR 2 game, okay? And then obviously I would imagine very strongly we would get Horizon 3 in another 5 or so years, maybe for the next, PS6, while people are still looking for the PS5. That's probably will happen in another 5 or so years. But again, I really just think it's such a slam dunk thing that we would get DLC for it. Again, I think it makes sense in an open world perspective, gives people an extra. Again, this is a game like Ghost that you want your consumers to spend a lot of time in, right? Sony and Guerrilla Games are hoping that we are in this world for a long time. 40, 50, 60, 70, on and on and on hours. And to keep us in it even more for a DLC, right? And you offer it for 15, 20, 25, somewhere in that range of money. Now, if it's like a $40 DLC, then it gets a little more sketchy. You have to weigh the options. You have to weigh what they're actually giving us. But no, I think just in terms of all the other games they've done it for, the first Horizon game, it's something that honestly, even for like a Ghost of Tsushima or like The Last of Us Part 2, which they haven't done yet, but I think they will, it's almost cheating, right? Like, again, I don't want to kind of word it where it's like so anti-PlayStation, because it's not. It's actually a smart business move where it's like you get the same game again in a sense, and you can fill in like a schedule, like a release schedule where you don't have anything else. You know what I mean? So if Sony finds themselves, right, early next year where they don't really have a lot, but they have this, like that, it still kind of operates as a major release, doesn't it? Because it's one of the bigger games of this year. It's a major, entry in their franchise, and you're giving it, whether you're doing like some sort of remaster / director's cut, or whether you're doing DLC with it or you're doing DLC separate, right? It's like you're going back into this world, but you're doing something new, and that you can very easily, as Sony, market that as like a big, you know, like that. I mean, it's just happened before. They've done Death Stranding. Like, they do it all the time, right? So I really think it helps them from a business perspective. It gives us something else to play. And then again, like really, like the story you would imagine would kind of be like the most important stuff. And again, like without spoiling anything, you can do it. Like there'll be, I think, story elements that you could easily, or you could introduce new stuff, or again, you can bridge the gap between the ending of 2 and the beginning of 3, which I think they will do. And they did that for Frozen Wilds. That's kind of what they, you know, from a story perspective, that's what Frozen Wilds was doing. So, you know, honestly, it is important, but I would almost say like the outside the game business perspective is way more important in terms of like, can you predict that they would do it or not? And I think you can get it from that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.